Hey Vita fans, welcome to another edition of the Vitality Weekly News Update, featuring yours truly, Kyle from the Vita Lounge. It's time to cut to the chase, because there's a lot of news this week. Are you ready? Let's begin. PlayAsia has revealed that an Asian English subtitle version of SD Gundam G-Generation Genesis is due out day and date with the previously announced Japanese release, both of the versions releasing on November 22nd. Mark those calendars if you need some Gundam in your life. Spike Chunsoft and Limited Run Games have revealed that Mystery Chronicle One-Way Heroics is due for physical order on September 30th, with 5,000 copies available for purchase on Vita. The roguelike, left-to-right, run-from-the-deadly-shine-right RPG can already be yours digitally as it released on September 13th, but if you're waiting for the physical release, mark those calendars and don't miss it. Koei Tecmo has announced a new game for PlayStation Vita called Musou Stars. There isn't much in the way of details yet, but the game seems to be taking the place of the Warriors Orochi series as a crossover for all of Koei's titles. Musou Stars is set to launch in Japan at some point in 2017, so keep an eye out as I'm sure we'll be covering it again before then. According to an announcement by Sony this week, it looks like silver and metallic red PlayStation Vita Slim variations are coming to Japan on December 1st. They'll be priced at 18,980 yen on release. While it's likely that they won't be coming to the West directly, that doesn't mean you can't import, so make sure to check your favorite import dealers if you're interested. According to the pre-Tokyo Game Show press conference earlier this week, it looks like board game Itadaki Street Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy 30th Anniversary is coming to PlayStation Vita sometime next year in Japan. Not much yet is known about the title, but we'll be sure to keep an eye out. Vague news is vague, right guys? Spike Chunsoft has revealed some fresh details about new Danganronpa V3, this time even going so far as to introduce us to the title's protagonist. Kade Akamatsu, character voice Sayaka Kanada, possesses a reliable and responsible personality, leading her to naturally fall into line as the leader. Determined and not afraid to take action, Kade is a force to be reckoned with, so don't get in her way. New Danganronpa V3, everyone's new semester of killing, is now due out January 2017 in Japan, so mark those calendars or kick back and rock yourself to sleep, waiting for the Western announcement details like I am. Come on, guys. Coming to us without PlayStation TV compatibility, Saga Scarlet Grace is due out in Japan on December 15th, priced at 6,800 yen. That's all I got on that one. NIS America has announced that they'll be the ones to bring Kadokawa Games' strategic RPG God Wars to the West, the title currently slated for sometime early next year. It'll be headed to North America and Europe in both digital and physical versions, so don't worry about getting it the way you want it. As for the game itself, I think it's time for a story recap. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful land called Mizuho. The people of Mizuho valued peace and honored their ancestral spirits, living in harmony with nature. Over time, however, things changed and they had to evolve, cultivating crops, forging and using metal, fighting wars, and destroying nature. As things progressed away from the basics, they neglected to honor their ancestral spirits. They lost their way. Meanwhile, the land becomes host to several natural disasters, flooding, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions disturbing the peacefulness of even nature. In order to stop a particularly destructive explosion, Queen Tsukuyomi sacrifices her beloved daughter Sakuya to the mountain and confines her other daughter, Kaguya, within a bamboo seal in case of future disasters. Afterwards, Tsukuyomi disappears. 13 years pass by, and Princess Kaguya grows into a beautiful woman. Her childhood friend Kintaro ends up saving her during a riot, leading Kaguya to rebel against her fate as a sacrifice. In order to follow her own path, Kintaro and Kaguya must escape and embark on a journey across the land of Mizuho with the goal of discovering the truth behind the Queen's decisions. Will they succeed? That's up to you. God Wars Future Past is headed to North America and Europe sometime early in 2017. Limited Run Games has announced that they'll be partnering with Bithell Games to release Thomas Was Alone on physical media later this month. No details on pricing or an exact release date have been revealed, but you can be sure we'll let you know when they're available. It's official, Berserk will now be known as Berserk and the Band of the Hawk in the West, and the newly named title will be released digitally on February 24th in North America and Europe. The Japanese release date is still October 27th, so there you have it, all dated for release. Now we wait. Inspired by the games of Rayman, Klonoa, and Sonic, Shu is a 2.5D platformer with beautifully vivid 3D environments. As the titular Shu will have to run, jump, glide, and use special abilities gained from villagers to try and outrun an apocalyptic storm hellbent on consuming the world. Sound interesting? Well, this is the same game we introduced to you nearly 2 years ago, only with a bit of an overhaul compared to what that projected 2015 release version had to offer. Instead, it has been tweaked, revised, and honed into something that developers CodeSync Software are much more proud of. But what have they changed? Well, the PlayStation Vita version of the game, which runs at 60 frames per second by the way, now has exclusive content called The Refuge, which is a village that acts as a visual representation of your progress through the game. Any saved villagers will end up there, able to lead a blissful life. Time trials have been added, and leaderboards have been added to go with the time trial aspect. The storm has been altered in both appearance and behavior, with the nixing of the permanent power removal mechanic, whereby being caught by the storm would permanently remove one of your villager powers, a part of that as well. Villager powers have been altered to better fit the style and flow of the game, with level structures following suit. Most of this is due to the newly renewed focus on the speedrun style nature of the game. Additionally, the art used has been overhauled to feel more immersive and lively. Shu is headed to PlayStation Vita sometime in Q4, priced at $11.99 US. It'll be cross-buy with the PlayStation 4 version of the game, which launches October 4th, so don't worry about having to double dip. If its presence at this year's Tokyo Game Show is any indication, it looks like an English version of romantic visual novel Clannad is in the works. A demo of the title available for play at Developer Prototype's booth. Clannad is already out in Japan, and no English version has been officially announced. That said, we'll be keeping an eye out for more information on this one, so rest assured that if it is announced, you'll hear about it here. That's all for the news recap this week, which means it's time for a rundown of the newly released trailers, the following titles having either a new trailer or new footage released since I last sent some Vitality your way. Akiba's Beat, Atelier Fierce, Berserk, Code Realized Future Blessings, Dragon Quest Builders, Fate Extella the Umbral Star, Itadaki Street, Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy 30th Anniversary, Musu Stars, New Danganronpa V3, Saga Scarlet Grace, Samurai Warriors Sonata Maru, SD Gundam G Generation Genesis, Shu, Susai no Onmyoji, Sword Art Online Hollow Realization, Valkyria Azure Revolution, Valkyrie Drive Bakuni, World of Final Fantasy, and more. So those are the standout happenings from the last 7 days, so make sure to check back here around this time next week for another new episode of Vitality. Hit up the Vita Lounge for the full stories and all the bits I didn't cover, and of course, have a great week of Vita gaming.